Hello everyone, Lytro Storm here, and today I'm back with part 2 of What If Hercule Was a Saiyan. In the first part, we set up Hercule's origin and got all the way to the 22nd Budokai's ending. So now we're going to be continuing right where we left off. But if you haven't yet seen the first part, make sure you do by clicking the link in the description or comment section. It'll be pivotal to understanding what's going on in this part. But for those of you who have already seen it, let's go ahead and dive straight into the video now. After seeing the death of Krillin, Goku chases after Tambourine on the Nimbus, and Hercule goes to follow him. He finds Goku on the ground unconscious, with Tambourine flying away in the distance. Hercule takes Goku, but they're stopped along the way by Yajirobe. Hercule refuses to be stopped from helping his friend, so he gets ready to fight Yajirobe. But when he pulls out a sword, Hercule has a few second thoughts. However, now he's forced into the battle, and slowly starts to get over that fear as he dodges a few attacks. Goku wakes up to see Hercule fighting for him, so he kicks Yajirobe away before Symbol arrives. Hercule is kinda grossed out by Symbol, and he lets Yajirobe handle it, which he does easily, killing Symbol and taking his body to cook and eat. Tambourine shows up to fight Goku and finally finish him off, however Goku is able to take him down and actually kill him successfully. This causes King Piccolo to show up shortly after, and battle Goku. Hercule and Yajirobe are both scared, but Goku is ready to fight to bring Krillin back. So he fights Piccolo, and this goes about as well as you'd expect. After seeing his friend being beaten down, Hercule stops being a coward and joins in to help. He tries his best to use a rolling Hercule punch on King Piccolo, but he only catches it and throws him aside. Goku is now weakened due to his fight with King Piccolo, so while he tries to help Hercule, it really isn't that useful. Piccolo just knocks him aside and beats up Hercule. However, that's when Yajirobe shows up and gives the Dragon Ball to King Piccolo, which satisfies him enough to leave. With that, Goku and Hercule are both badly beaten, Goku even more so than Hercule. So, he instructs Yajirobe on how to get to Korin's tower, and he drives them there. With some help from Bora, Yajirobe is able to climb the tower with Goku on his back, while Hercule tries to climb as well, but he's still injured and low on energy, so it is a bit difficult for him. Eventually, Yajirobe makes it to the top and gets a Senzu Bean for Goku. He then swoops down and grabs Hercule, bringing him up as well. So now that everyone is back at full power, Korin decides to offer them the Ultra Divine Water. However, after seeing what the water does to Goku, Hercule is not going to take that risk of death. So Goku is much stronger than before, and Hercule tries to catch up as he travels toward King Piccolo. By this point, Piccolo has regained his youth, killed Roshi and Chaozu, and replaced the king. All this happened in canon, and there really hasn't been much change there, so it's still gonna happen. Anyway, Goku shows up and kills Drum, saving Tenshinhan from death. He then goes on to fight King Piccolo, which would be slightly easier than in canon. Piccolo realizes that he's going to lose, and grabs Tenshinhan, using him as leverage over Goku. However, he is then kicked in the back by Hercule, causing him to drop Tenshinhan. With that, Goku never gets injured, and is able to take King Piccolo down much sooner. And now that the battle is over, Goku goes to Korin's tower once again to heal up and try to find a way to bring back Shenron. Korin recommends he go talk with Kami, so he does that. Kami agrees to bring back Shenron and the people killed by King Piccolo, only if Goku trains with him to defeat Piccolo Jr. Goku does agree to this, as he does in the original story. After these events, Hercule went off and found the girl he had met before, and made sure she was alright. The two briefly show interest in each other before Hercule leaves to continue his training. He climbs Korin's tower with Krillin, Yamcha, and the others, but also gets the green light from Korin to continue up and find Kami. This is because he's already passed Korin's training, so he's ready to move on. And so one day, Hercule arrives on the lookout and Kami reluctantly agrees to train him as well, only on the condition that he tries to destroy Piccolo and tries to make Goku stronger during the training and doesn't hold him back. Hercule agrees to this and becomes another student of Kami. By the end of the training, Goku is stronger than he was in canon, and I could see him being in the upper 300 range in power levels. Hercule is also pretty high as well, probably around 300 give or take. So overall, the training was very successful, and they're ready for the tournament. Before we dive into the real bracket, I'd like to have Hercule face off against Cyborg Tao in the preliminaries. With his training from Kami, he is able to easily defeat Tao, which makes his arc come full circle. Not only that, but by the end of the fight, even after Tao uses weapons, Hercule defeats and spares him. This shows that Roshi's way of teaching left an impact on him, and made his desire for revenge decrease. So Hercule is now a better man than Tao, through both power and humanity as well. Tao is knocked out and arrested for attempted murder, and the tournament goes on. Because Hercule beat Tao, he's going to be fighting Ten Shinhan in the main bracket, and while weighted, Ten Shinhan actually has a decent edge over him. However, Hercule quickly takes off the weights and begins to get a bit more serious. This fight would be a pretty good one, with Hercule being stronger than Cyborg Tao, but not as strong as Goku was, so he has a pretty decent power advantage. I could see lots of his new techniques working on Hercule, causing the two of them to both be injured, but Hercule is able to pull the W at the end, since I think his training would have made him strong enough to do so. Oh yeah, also Kami removed Goku and Hercule's tails, cry about it. Anyway, so Goku and Hercule fight in the next round, which would see Goku win. No real need for an explanation, Goku is just stronger and has better techniques. Goku then fights Piccolo in the finals and beats him easier than he did canonically, but he still spares him and leaves with Chi-Chi to go get married. Hercule also takes some inspiration from this and decides to officially start the relationship with the girl he met previously. The two get married and have a baby girl named Videl. She would be a half Saiyan, half human baby, which will be very interesting to see going forward. But a key reason why it would be interesting is because now both her and her father are going to be having important roles to play from the beginning of Z rather than later. So we know Videl's mother died at some point due to unknown causes, so I'm just going to say it happens during the 5 years. Of course, it's after Videl is born though. That way we don't have to continue using a character who doesn't really have anything known about them. We can kind of just get him out of the way. And we'll say it's a natural cause as well, so she can't be revived by the Dragon Balls. After her death, Hercule decided the best idea would be to get into training once again in order to move on. Videl would still be pretty young, so he'd also be trying to provide as much support to her as he can. Overall, he's just a very loving father, and trying to do his best. Also, all the press he got from fighting King Piccolo and beating Cyborg Tao would be amazing for Hercule. He'd definitely indulge in all that, unlike Goku and the others, allowing him to become a quasi-celebrity at this point. He's not world-renowned yet, but a decent amount of people in the area know about his story. So anyway, Hercule decides to take Videl to Kame House and reunite with Goku and the gang. Videl and Gohan meet and are pretty friendly with each other, which the gang is happy to see. But what they aren't happy to see is Raditz. He tells Goku that he's actually a Saiyan, and this makes Hercule realize that he must be as well. Raditz notices their children and decides that he'll take them if they won't comply and join him, which they don't. So Raditz steals Gohan and Videl, and no one can really do anything about it. He just beats him up and leaves. Piccolo shows up and agrees to team up with Goku and Hercule in order to defeat Raditz. The three go after him, but are pretty easily beaten by the Saiyan, who is laughing as he beats them up. Piccolo decides to use the special beam cannon, which fails the first time, but Videl and Gohan break out of the pod and headbutt Raditz. These two blows leave him completely open to Piccolo's next special beam cannon, which is helped by Goku using the full Nelson. And so, Piccolo kills both Goku and Raditz says that Vegeta and Nappa will arrive in a year. Goku is taken to King Yama by Kami, who allows him to run Snake Way and train under King Kai. Meanwhile, Piccolo steals Gohan in order to train him, and suggests that Hercule train his daughter as well. Oh yeah, and if he tries to take Gohan back, he'll take her next. Piccolo then flies off, and Hercule realizes that he was right. They had to properly train the two kids in order to win against those Saiyan guys. So Hercule takes her to the best teacher he knows, Muten Roshi. He asks Roshi to train her up like he did for him before. Hercule then goes to Kami's lookout and joins the Earthlings to train with Kami and Popo. Sure, he's already gotten training from them, but if he can do it with the gang, that can potentially improve both his gains and theirs. Due to having Hercule there to help them train, they'd all grow a decent bit stronger from the canon timeline. Yajirobe would surpass 1,000, Yamcha would be near 2,000, and both Krillin and Ten Shinhan would be above 2,000. Chaozu is sadly still in the upper 700 range, but I mean, that's better than 610, I guess. But Hercule has garnered a power level of 3,500, putting him equal to Piccolo. At the same time, Videl is in the 600 range after training with Roshi, Korin, and finally Popo toward the end of the year. She's got some pretty high potential, although not as high as Gohan's, so it shouldn't be too surprising. Speaking of Gohan, he and Piccolo are both the same strength they were in canon, as their training didn't really change. So with that out of the way, let's now get into the fight against the Saiyans. The Cybermen would still be planted, but Yamcha would be able to kill one with his Kamehameha due to his higher strength. The rest then attack, forcing the other Z-Fighters to step in and take them out pretty easily as well. Seeing this, Nappa starts fighting against the squad, but has very limited success. This is due to many factors. For one, we've got 3 additional fighters here, Hercule, Videl, and Yamcha, who survived the Cybermen. 2, all of the Earthlings are stronger than in canon. And 3, Hercule is just as strong as Piccolo, making him a decent threat to Nappa as well. So because of this, they'd be able to wear Nappa down a bit as a collective. Of course, Videl isn't really doing much as she's kinda scared, and so is Gohan, but when her father is in trouble, she jumps in to help. So Nappa would be pretty strained by the time of Chaozu's self-destruct attack, which means Tenshinhan's Spirit Tri-Beam is going to do even more damage. So Nappa is either knocked out by this, or he's badly weakened and is taken down by the Z-Fighters shortly after. Either way, Chaozu and Tenshinhan sacrifices work to take Nappa out of commission in one way or another. Vegeta doesn't like this, so he kills Nappa himself and decides to fight. He could tell that all of them combined with Kakarot, who will later show up, could be trouble, so he wants to thin out their numbers. This leads to the deaths of Yamcha and Piccolo before Goku arrives. Due to him being slightly stronger, Goku's power level truly would exceed 9,000 here. This leads to a slightly easier battle against Vegeta without Goku needing the Kaioken ×3 as much. Of course, he'd still use it from time to time, but it wouldn't be as heavily relied on. Krillin are also healed up by the Splint Senzu Bean and take Gohan and Videl to safety since they haven't really been hurt. But Goku wins, causing Vegeta to go Uzaru with the fake moon. He crushes Goku, forcing Krillin, Hercule, Gohan, and Videl to return and try to save him. Goku is also charging a Spirit Bomb the whole time, and Yajirobe shows up, cutting Vegeta's tail off. After that, Hercule and the others gang up on Vegeta, which works better in this version. And by the end, the Spirit Bomb is launched, with Vegeta barely surviving after they bounce it back and forth until it hits him, and escaping Earth in his pod. So now, the gang decides that they should go to Namek in hopes of finding the Dragon Balls to bring back their friends. But that's all for part 2. We covered quite a bit, from the end of the King Piccolo arc, all the way to the end of the first arc of Z, being the Saiyan Saga. And now we've got the setup for Namek, so next part is definitely going to be covering that, and potentially maybe even more. If you guys enjoyed this part and want to see Hercule's story continue as a Saiyan, please let me know. I will definitely be working on the next part as soon as I can. And, you know, just hit me with likes, subscribes, comments, whatever. And it'll show me that I need to work harder. But as always, tell me if you like this part. Tell me what you think will happen next. Comment your requests for future videos and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.